Hi, I'm Gayla Scrivener, ex-corporate girl and now work-from-anywhere adventure seeker. Creating a work-from-anywhere lifestyle isn't without its challenges, but those challenges certainly don't overshadow all the many benefits. What breaks my heart is seeing folks stuck and unhappy in a career and lifestyle when they want more out of life. I believe that we all have the opportunity to create the life of our dreams and earn a living in fun and creative ways to make our dream lifestyle a reality. You too can experience wonderful adventure and freedom as you live life on your own terms. In this weekly podcast, I share experiences when it comes to growing a lifestyle business through guest interviews, content marketing experience and perspectives, virtual leadership lessons, and I'll even throw in some travel adventures. My hope is through all the interviews, the tips, advice, and personal experience, you'll be inspired and motivated to keep going and creating your dream lifestyle. Life's an adventure. There's no time but the present to live life to the fullest. Hi there, and welcome to the show. When we're doing things on a small scale, it seems like we must do everything, doesn't it? Especially if we're trying to grow our personal brand. Everything seems to be on our shoulders. Everything. The longer we're in business and the more we grow, the more important it becomes to have systems. You have a vision, but it takes the systems and implementing those systems to really make the vision a reality. And often, growth in our businesses is stunted because there's a disconnect between vision and doing what it takes to see the vision through. And what got me thinking about this was I was talking to Norma, who's on my team, and we were talking the other day, and our conversation centered around how stressful it is on staff and customers when changing software systems or vendors. It's just hard, and it doesn't have to be. Now, Norma and I have known each other for a long time. We first began working together when I was recruited to develop the billing office for a medical management company many years ago. And Norma was the office coordinator back then and wearing many hats and doing a huge number of admin tasks. Norma and I went on quite a wild ride working for that company until it was eventually closed and we both needed to move on to bigger and better things. And Norma still works in the medical industry as her day job. But I am so fortunate that she moonlights for me and has been with me for almost the beginning of starting Scrivener Solutions. Well, getting back to Norma and my discussion about changing software vendors and it causing so much stress. You see, in her day job, the healthcare organization that she works for had changed lab vendors. Not a bad thing. And it's probably a sound business decision. The announcement of the change was made a couple of months prior to the go-live date. That's good, right? But the problem that arose was there was no preparation done on developing new systems and policies in working with this new lab vendor. No communication was made to the frontline workers on what to do and how to handle the new lab orders and how to direct things. And the result had been huge wait times for patients. Confused and angry staff and patients, and service quality that greatly diminished. Now, my heart goes out to Norma, and she's having to deal with the ordeal that doesn't have an easy fix, and the fix doesn't happen overnight, and she has to contend with the dysfunction for many more weeks, I'm sure, and maybe the effects will be felt for many months. I don't know, but it's just unfortunate. As Norma was letting off steam about her current situation in her day job, she brought up that she thought they needed to make the change like how we did a software conversion way back when at our old imaging management office job. She was very complimentary of how she indicated that I facilitated the whole process and wished that I was at her current job to do the same thing. Although it's nice of her to say, a conversion like this is a huge undertaking. It takes a great team to make it a success, whether it was with the medical imaging company or this big healthcare organization. It takes a great team. In talking with Norma, we reminisced about that software conversion that we did at our old job together and compared it to what she's going through right now. Now, although we aren't comparing exactly apples to apples, there are a lot of similarities. I do admit that the software conversion is one of my most proudest projects that I've had the pleasure of leading. We changed billing, scheduling, and documenting systems without even a dip in revenue, without interruption of service, and with minimal employee stress that usually accompanies such change. And this was for 14 medical offices that we managed at the time, crossing 5 states. And I can't remember how many employees we had. It certainly wasn't as big of an undertaking as changing that lab vendor for the huge healthcare system that has over 44,000 employees system-wide. I'm not comparing apples to apples here, but I am pretty proud of what we accomplished at that medical management company. As Norma and I reminisced, it occurred to me that it seems like one key element that we had back then and what her day job office seemed to be missing was an integrator or an implementer, kind of interchangeable terms. Although way back when I had no clue what an integrator was or an implementer was, now I recognize that that was the very role I played in the whole project. As an implementer, I was the bridge between the decisions made by the head honchos and the processes done by the frontline crew. Sometimes I felt like a translator, and sometimes I was a trainer. Sometimes I was a director. Other times I would switch by placing myself in the visionary role, and then I'd switch to be the frontline doer. Now, I'm not trying to be boastful or anything, but I am proud of how I was able to break down the whole software conversion process and implement it in a minimally stressful and successful manner. It wasn't all me, of course, but I was responsible for coordinating everyone's efforts, developing the processes, and training those processes. Implementer. That seems to be what was missing for changing lab vendors in Norma's day job. Implementer. Now, I can't be for sure because I'm not there and I'm just making assumptions, and it's only my opinion. An implementer can be the glue between the vision to actually achieving the desired outcomes. There seemed to have been no glue in that organization. There are the decision makers and the frontline doers, but there seemed to be no one in between to coordinate things, to have uniform processes and have that forward thinking of what happens when the go live date occurred. How can this relate to a small solopreneur shop? You may think it doesn't apply to you because you're not that big, but on the contrary, a great lesson can be learned. You, as a great visionary in your business, will make decisions. Similar decisions of software or vendor choices that the big organizations have. Your decisions are just on a smaller scale, but they're big decisions for you. Then, as a solopreneur, we will oftentimes have to be that frontline doer. The implementer role should be easy, right? We're an office of one, especially since we're doing the visionary part and we're doing the doer pieces already. It should be super easy to communicate with ourselves and work out the processes. But it isn't so easy for many. I see all the time coaches or consultants hopping from one software system to another, then to another, and then to another, in hopes of finding this perfect system, this perfect software that will do all things for them. And most of the time, what's missing is the slow and steady roll of integration, where the setup of that software system occurs and processes are developed. You have to slow way, way down, and that is so hard for visionaries. Most of the time, system integration must be done in phases for success. And the doers need to be shown what to do, and the visionary has that vision of the end result. And sometimes we solopreneurs are great visionaries and great doers. But to develop those processes, sometimes we lose patience and just want to do and just get it over with. And so they're searching for this shiny object, switching software or switching things, switching directions, because they think it will be easier. They're missing the implementation part, that slow and steady phase. An integrator or an implementer is a person who thrives on bringing order to chaos. They're skilled at putting expert systems and processes in place to turn ideas into reality. The implementer is usually a great manager, skilled at creating consistent environments and holding people accountable. Where the visionary may focus on the big picture, like the company culture and the client relationships, the implementer is naturally suited to making it happen, taking the company from point A to point B. Systemizing things can be a hard thing to do for a visionary. Systems are usually in the realm of the implementer, and the implementer is the person who makes things happen in a creative manner, and they're the problem solvers. There's no doubt that as a solopreneur, you will certainly wear both hats or all hats. There's no doubt about that. And as you grow, it becomes increasingly harder to solve all the problems that arise. To truly grow beyond what you're capable of, adding an implementer to help problem solve and make decisions that align with achieving your vision is no doubt a must-have. Now, I know I don't have all the facts that arose with the situation at that big medical organization that I spoke of earlier who changed lab companies. I know they are a huge corporation, and I'm not comparing apples to apples to what you and I would be going through. But I want to believe that the visionaries of that organization had good and sound reasons to make the change. It's just so unfortunate that the massive delays that the patients were going through, waiting hours to get labs drawn, and results were not ready by the time they had their appointment. And the frontline staff had to bear the brunt of the discord of the change had caused. And like I said, I don't have all the facts, but I think it could still be a great lesson for us who run a small business or are about to start a small business. There must be a connection between vision and making that vision a reality. Implementation of the vision or the plan takes creativity, problem solving, sometimes being a translator between the vision and the doers to create the needed systems that must be done on an ongoing basis. It takes someone who can bring order to a vision that seems like it's just up in the clouds, and the consistency to bring that vision to reality. That computer conversion I helped lead so many years ago, in hindsight, tells me that my role was the implementer. I had no idea at the time, but now that I know what these roles are, I was the implementer. I was that translator between the visionaries of the company to the frontline doers. And we all made it happen together. Maybe that experience left such an impression on me that now I'm running a business that implements our client's content marketing plan. Who knows? But what I do know, I just love working with our clients, listening to their vision and taking off their plate the figuring out part of making their plan a reality. I'm proud of having some wonderful clients and a kick-butt team. Well, I'm going to wrap up the show by saying, when you're small, perhaps you can do all roles. And pretty much, you'll have to do all roles at first, most of the time. But when you're to the point of really scaling your business, it becomes increasingly harder to be that visionary, always looking to the future while at the same time that steady cadence of the implementer to systemize and create consistency. Something to think about anyway. Well, thanks for joining me today. I hope you found this episode helpful. And if you haven't done so already, I'd love for you to subscribe. And if you're listening this far into the show, maybe you are ready for an implementation team. Well, Scrivener Solutions has one done-for-you service-level client opening for August. The opening involves that we can onboard that one client in August. Now, if you're listening when this is published, be sure to go to scrivenersolutions.com and click on the contact page and then book a call and let's talk. And if you're listening much later than August, please book a 30-minute call anyway to see if we're taking on any new clients at the time and see if we're the right fit for you. Just go to scrivenersolutions.com, like I said, and then go to the contact page, and I'll have the links in the show notes too. Well, thanks again for listening. Until next time, have a fantastic week.